Crystal, what are you taking a look at?
Well, we have a new contender for worst possible reaction to the catastrophic train derailment in Ohio, which spewed God knows what into the atmosphere and waterways, causing God knows what kind of long-term damage. The odious Joy Behar knew exactly who to blame for this toxic catastrophe sparked by years of political corruption and corporate greed. The residents of the town themselves. Why? Well, because they were part of the deplorable group who voted for Donald Trump. Take a listen.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district, Donald Trump.
You can actually hear the View audience gasp and boo because they are so shocked. She would take this opportunity to scold these suffering Americans for their political choices. But you know what? I'm actually kind of glad she said it. I'm glad she revealed the ugly core of this type of snide liberalism. After all, her sentiment, it's not a new one. I saw it expressed on Twitter. I saw it hinted at by the analysts who dismissed the positive reception of Trump's visit because this was, quote, Trump country. And we all heard it when Hillary Clinton dismissed Republican voters as deplorable, and when even in defeat, she bragged about winning the places that were optimistic and looking forward versus places presumably like East Palestine, which were, in her words, looking backwards. Now, this type of political analysis, to the extent it can be dignified as such, assumes that the politics of people and regions are set in stone, immovable, irreversible. These people are deplorable, not much you can do about it. Guess we've just got to pull a larger percentage in those optimistic, forward-looking places instead. Now, I used to live in Columbiana County. That's the county where East Palestine is located. I actually lived just about 15 miles from where that Norfolk Southern train derailed. My labor-centric economic populist politics, those were formed in large part by my time living in that region. So I know a little bit about the story of this area and how exactly it became, quote-unquote, Trump country. And that evolution was happening in real time right as I was living there. Decades ago, most of the plates and dishes in the world were actually manufactured in potteries in and around Columbiana County. The town I lived in is called East Liverpool. It was the epicenter of this industry. But nearly all of those jobs went overseas to places like China. Before it was Trump country, this was also steel country, where people could graduate high school and get a tough but stable union job, which afforded benefits and a solid middle-class life. Well, that, of course, has all been destroyed, too. In recent years, Columbiana County has been hit hard by the opioid epidemic and by deaths of despair. As tax revenue dwindled, the roads and downtowns crumbled, telling a visual story of decline and of abandonment. Now, Columbiana County used to vote for Democrats. Michael Dukakis, who famously lost in a landslide nationwide. He actually won Columbiana County in 1988. And then Bill Clinton won it twice by comfortable margins in both 92 and 96. However, in a sign of the coming political realignment, Ross Perot actually outperformed in Columbiana County, running on a populist platform against NAFTA and the giant sucking sound of jobs being shipped out of regions exactly like this one. To make a long story short, in the Clinton era, Democrats abandoned the New Deal in favor of neoliberal policies that devastated this region and many others. And when Democrats abandoned Columbiana County increasingly abandoned Democrats. In 2016, the congressional district that includes East Palestine swung 30 points right to overwhelmingly vote for Donald Trump. It was the largest swing right in the entire country. Now, there are a lot of parallels between this latest train catastrophe and the economic catastrophe that was unleashed on this region over decades. Just like with the train derailment, both parties were complicit in the destruction of this region. The abandonment, the betrayal, the union busting, NAFTA, market fundamentalism, permanent normal trade relations with China. At every step, a bipartisan consensus moved in favor of crushing towns just like this one. And just like with the train derailment, the media failed to tell the story of what had really happened here. And that story, at its root, is actually the same story as the train derailment. It's a story about government capture, corporate greed, and a deadly ruling class ideology that treats working class people as mere collateral damage.